Okay, so apparently, I tried to upload a video, or I tried to capture video not like 5 minutes ago. I had to upload a video for you guys. Why am I saying you guys? It already sounds like I have an audience. It's fucking arrogant as fuck. And the point is, I thought I was recording and I wasn't. And now I'm gonna have to fill in another 30 minutes, give or take, of content, and that kind of blows, because I just, boy, the first 30 minutes were hard enough to fill in. But, I guess I'm back for another 30 minutes to try and make a video suitable for upload. You know, in the version of this recording that you can't see, or the gameplay that you can't see, I should say, I talked about how hard it is to solo commentary, as illustrated by me often pausing between ideas, like come up with shit to talk about, and how YouTubers that have made it big, they kind of get a bad rap, like Let's Players, that is. Because okay, I'm dead. Well,
looks like I killed you, Tark. Suppose that makes me a Tark killer. No, Tark Slayer. I quite like the sound of that. Tark Slayer.
oh,
From
great.
now on, I will be known as the Tark Slayer.
But Let's Players that have made it big get a bad rap because a lot of people think that it's easy to make the content that they do. You know, you just sit and talk while you play a game. And yeah, in principle, that's a very easy thing to do. But once you have an audience, once you've got an audience built in, there becomes the issue of finding out what the audience likes about you and sort of
the ring is lost, but we can defeat
finding a way to
Sauron.
mass produce that in
I
a way
poured
that
myself
doesn't
into that
make
ring.
the content
We
lose
need
that
it for the
its,
war to come.
its edge, you know, it doesn't make the content lose what helped make that YouTuber popular in the first place, while still also introducing just enough new stuff that it isn't seen as stale. You know, something that is the same at its core as it was in the beginning, but something that's also entirely different. It's a difficult balancing act, and I just don't think they get enough recognition for doing that, because good lord, it seems baffling to me that if I ever somehow actually got popular, I just don't know how I would go about keeping my audience entertained. So, I mean, I really hope one day I get to experience that issue, but if I don't, then that's fine, because that's a whole lot of pressure right there to deal with. And I don't envy anybody who actually has to deal with that on a regular basis, because it's harder than a lot of people make it out to be. And they deserve more credit. yeah, I love video games. I love playing them. I love talking about them. I enjoy everything about video games. They've been, you know, a big part of my life for a while. I'm 20, so I don't remember when I got my first Game Boy, but I feel like I was around 8 to 10 years old, 7 maybe. I don't know, but it was around that time that it started with Pokemon and all of that, that I started really enjoying games. Grew up playing Game Boy and my dad's PlayStation. And I did actually have a GameCube, a system which I did not appreciate until after I no longer had a GameCube. Really underrated system. I'd say that it's underrated like the Wii, but Wii U, but the Wii U is not. I'm sorry, I think the Wii U is an okay system, but there's reasons why, outside of its marketing, that it just did not succeed like Nintendo wanted it to. And that's just because it's not a very appealing console in and of itself, unlike the Switch, which it just gives off that vibe of like, holy shit, I have to have this. At least that's how I felt when I first saw the Switch. But yeah, my gaming passion started with, I'd say it's safe to say probably a mixture of a few really different games. Like, I love Pokemon, I love Jak and Daxter, I love, and I am sorry for the speaker on my DualShock, I will fix that later. I figured you probably just couldn't hear anything about what I said while that thing blared. But, I love Pokemon, love Jak and Daxter, Luigi's Mansion, just had a damn good time with all of those games. And, they kind of helped introduce me into gaming. And kind of are the reason why I enjoy playing them so much to this day. So I would love to have a job that actually allows me to play games for a living. Like, I doubt this YouTube channel will ever really see the light of day. But if it does, I'd be extremely happy and grateful, because there's very few things that can make a person happier than getting to do what they love and get paid for it, so... Good lord, look at the small army that I've just alerted. Son of a bitch. I'm just on a quest to collect the Ithilden in this area, by the way. Like, nothing more, nothing less. No, but it's extremely gratifying to be able to do something you love and get paid for it, so that's why I would love to actually see this take off. But if it doesn't, if nothing else, I just get to play games and have a good time with everything, you know? So it's kind of a win-win for me. Boy, oh boy, I have not had this much problem with other Athil than I can assure you. There's 2 more, and then I can go to the Burrows and get, or Barrows, and get the legendary armor or gear or whatever they have for me. I don't think that's gonna fill in another 30 minutes, to be honest, but we'll come up with something to do in between. Which, I guess I'll talk about what I didn't really get a chance to talk about in my first attempt at a video, which is to say the new Star Wars. Because in the last video I kind of got sidetracked about how shitty Star Wars Battlefront 2 is, or at least how shitty the business practices behind it are. And I really wanted to talk about The Last Jedi. So that's what I'm gonna do, and I've only seen the movie once, and a lot of people online have went to go see it in multiple viewings. So I don't have the added benefit of having seen it multiple times, so I can really only give you my first impressions on the movie, and but I enjoyed it a good amount, and it kind of, the backlash behind The Last Jedi, I saw it coming. As much as I loved the movie, I knew that people were gonna have trouble we're gonna have issues with how Luke's character was treated. Now, personally, I liked Mark Hamill as in his take on this version of Luke Skywalker. Luke was one of the best parts of the movie. My only complaint is that there was not enough of him. And I would kill for there to just be like a ton of footage that just didn't get released that maybe gets added into the Blu-ray. I want more Mark Hamill as old Luke Skywalker. It's interesting to see how the character's changed.
No ab.
It's interesting to see. It's interesting to see, all of the different things that they did with them, because they did take a kind of a major departure from what a lot of people really wanted them to do. They wanted him to come in and be a badass. They wanted him to come in and be heroic. And to be fair, I think that at the end of the movie, he was. But not in the same way that I feel like a lot of people, and I guess to a lesser extent even myself, really wanted him to be, but whereas I'm able to accept the performance and take it for what it was, love this version of the character for what it is rather than what it could have been. I understand people being upset. And yeah, let's be honest, there was the movie was not perfect on the whole. Not just talking about the Luke stuff. there were some pacing issues and some minor, I don't want to say plot holes, but plot issues, I guess? Because, like the subplot with Rose and Finn, how that ended up kind of being pointless. Okay, and before I go any further, I'm just gonna say for anybody who might be watching this who gives a shit, spoilers for the movie, obviously, because I'm not gonna be holding anything back. I'm not really mindful enough to do that in the first place, let alone, you know, I want to talk about the movie in its fullest, so I'm not gonna hold anything back. So basically, Rose and Finn's subplot was fucking pointless. And people who like the new character Rose, you know, might be upset at me for saying that, because obviously they get to see more of this new character that they really like, and that's fine. That's fine that you like the character. I liked her too, for the most part, but they had the plot set up where they needed to go find the hacker. And then it turns out, you know, they needed to go find the hacker because Admiral Holdo, Laura Dern's character, you know, wasn't listening to Poe. And Poe was like, okay, Finn and Rose, you can go do this crazy ass plan. Just get back here in time for us to, you know, do what we need to do. Which they do. They try and go find this hacker so they can go and disable the tracking in the ship that's chasing them, so that way they can go ahead and jump to hyperspace and get out of danger. Well, turns out Laura Dern knew all along that they were tracking them. How they were tracking them, that is. And she had a plan that she refused to tell Poe, which is to say that they were going to take everyone off on the escape pods, the life rafts, so to speak, and, you know, just kind of squeeze by under the First Order's radar. And not a bad plan, admittedly, but for one, that raises the question, why did she tell Poe? And two, why did you spend so much time on Finn and Rose's story, which, mind you, whenever they left, they only had like 6 hours, I think, to do the mission. It feels like they were gone a lot longer than 6 hours, but that's just me. There are some pacing issues there, in my opinion, but that kind of redeemed itself, I guess, whenever Admiral Holdo did the what is now being deemed the Lightspeed kamikaze thing, where she turns the ship around and, you know, jumps it to Lightspeed and then just rams through Snoke's huge fucking destroyer, like Star Destroyer. And, oh, by the way, I'm sorry for the video game, like, just being stuck on this screen. Like, good lord, sorry. But, oh, good lord, I'm getting into a massive pause. Okay, this is why it's hard to do gameplay and commentary at the same time. But anyways, yeah, the Lightspeed kamikaze scene was amazing. You know, dead silence in the theater whenever it happened. It was visually gorgeous. But pretty much everything about Vice Admiral Holdo's negated what Rose and Finn were trying to do, which therefore made that subplot pointless. Not entirely pointless, I should say, but made its length seem a little unnecessary. Seemed like there was a little bit too much time spent on it. Whereas if the plan was always to have, Vice Admiral Holdo know about what was going on and have her own plan, then kind of seems like they should have tried to balance the two subplots accordingly. And there's other issues with the movie. Namely, at the end, whenever they have the what do they call it? Like the Death Star battering ram, it's like a giant laser, powered by Death Star technology that punches a hole through this giant metal door that's covering the Resistance base. That's kind of protecting all the last few survivors. And Finn decides that he's going to ram his little rickety ship into the laser, sacrificing himself. But Rose stops him. Now, I like Finn. I don't want to see him die. But what she did endangered the rest of the people in the base, so why? Like, it's kind of selfish. But I don't know. It's weird. It's a weird movie because at the same time it's massively enjoyable. It also has some pretty mind-blowing continuity issues, I should say. And also some just really insane decisions were made, like why kill Snoke after people spent 2 years, debating who he was, what he was. Now, Rian Johnson, the director, had a very clear theme in the movie, and he even kind of beats us over the head with it with Kylo Ren's "Let the Past Die" speech, which, that works on multiple levels, that line anyways, because it's one telling the audience to let their expectations of the series conforming to its roots die, because Star Wars from this point on is going to stop trying to pay homage to its past and start looking forward into its future, and I think that's great. I like fan service as much as the next guy, but we really have to get new ideas injected in there if we're going to see this see this franchise be around for a whole lot longer. Boy, this is actually a hard one. But his whole "Let the Past Die" speech not only, tells people to let their expectations, not necessarily their expectations of quality, but their expectations of how things are going to go, of how the movies are going to play out. Good Lord, by this point, half of this video is just going to be me staring at this fucking wall. Yeah, we are down to the last 5 minutes of recording. Shit, I can rant about Star Wars. Yeah, letting the past die, and a lot of people expected it to be a clone of Empire in the way that Force Awakens was a clone of A New Hope. And in a lot of ways it was, and in a lot of ways it wasn't. Kylo Ren killing Snoke kind of sets the bar for this is going to be different going forward. This is not going to go the way you think, as Luke puts it. there's a little bit of subtlety that he wove into the narrative of The Last Jedi that kind of tells you that things are going to play out differently, that Star Wars is not going to be the same forever. And I think that's a good thing. But that being said, I do understand the criticism towards the movie, because there are some things that in hindsight you just wonder why they were even in the movie at all, or why there wasn't as much of X in the movie as what there should have been. There's a lot of issues people can take with the movie. Now, I don't think the movie is bad by any stretch of the imagination. Even looking at it flaws only, it still blows away the worst Star Wars movies. And visually, I cannot stress enough, visually this movie is probably the most gorgeous Star Wars movie that's ever been made. And nothing quite compares to the first Star Wars' binary sunset scene. Like, nothing's ever really going to top that, in my opinion, because that's gorgeous. But visually, the movie is stunning. And I hope that Episode 9 takes after that, because, good lord, it's amazing to watch. So, I hope that people will give it another chance and kind of reconcile the differences they have between what Rian Johnson did with their with all the characters. With the story, as opposed to what they wanted with the story. And for people who were upset with Rian Johnson's his take on the story, well, J.J. Abrams is going to be back for the last of the trilogy, so hopefully, he can save it in their eyes. I don't know. Yeah. But now I'm going to finish this real quick, because I've only got like 3 minutes left of this recording session, so... Okay, when the sun shines, the shadows must retreat, fleeing in fear from the fires of dawn. The night never knew that its end was fleet, as a bright lord bears beacons of flame. The sun rises, yes, but from the west it what is this? Well, I'm actually going to go ahead and probably end this, as I'd love to be able to figure this the fuck out, but I've not got time, so I'll let you know what I get. Did not want to take a screenshot.